Susan from Susan's Art and Junk Journaling. I want to have some fun with this book. I want to take out several pages and make, well, I don't want to say a mass make, but maybe like 10 tags. And I'm going to be using the Elmer's Craft Bond Extra Strength glue. And the reason why I want to work on making tags, I bought myself some gel pens and I got them from Walgreens. They were $10 for 30 colors and includes 12 that are glitter, 9 pastel, 6 neon, and 3 classic. I've not used gel pens before, but what I want to do after I make the tags out of this, I want to do some painting on the background, just some abstract painting, and then use the gel pens to decorate them. So let me see what I can get accomplished. This is just winging it, trying to come up with an idea for something to do. I was getting miscellaneous stuff that would normally go into the garbage ready to make tags out of, and this is it was like a thank you postcard. And if you ever have like this shiny cardboard stuff and you want to use it, you can just, I did this on playing cards as well. You can just sand away this area and still use the pretty floral outside. And the same with this cologne box. You can just, you know, if you don't want to glue something to the shiny, you can take the time to sand it and it'll help take the shiny off. And the same with this club soda box. You can just take one of these sanding pads you get in any hardware store and it'll sand off the shiny. I'm working on cutting these down and making them into little tag sizes. I'll go through and cut all of this up into smaller tag sizes. Cut this soda box into smaller sizes as well. And it's just random. I'm not even really measuring. I'm just cutting what looks like what would make a good tag size. So I'll go through and get about 10 and I'll show you what I do next. I've got 10 pieces of, I'm going to call it like cardstock from packaging, all sanded, and I won't lie, that is time consuming and it's very dusty. So you might want to wear a mask or do it outside where the wind's blowing a little bit so it'll blow all the dust away. But the reason why I sanded these is to give these a little bit of tooth so that when I go to glue these pages onto here, the shininess will be gone and the glue hopefully will adhere. So I've got all of these 10 pages torn out of the book. I'm going to turn these upside down and then I'm going to start gluing these in place. I've got most of these glued onto the book page. I didn't pay attention to where anything was lined up on the other side. So it's just going to be, you know, haphazard, not centered. So I did pretty much 2 on each one of the pages, so I was able to, you know, utilize more book page. But this last one I'm going to do a little different, and I'm going to do kind of like what Shinuki Art did with one of hers. So I like this outside floral border. So what I'm going to do is just put glue in the area kind of abstractly, and I'll show you like kind of zigzaggy and up and down, and you know, just kind of all over the place, nothing really square or even. And then I'm going to just turn this over. And this one I might try to line up a little bit better. And then once this dries, I'll show you how I remove the page, and hopefully this will turn out like it did on Shinuki Art. She's got such wonderful ideas. So I'm going to go ahead and go through and cut these out next. I've got them individually cut out, and before I do the next step, I want to make tag shapes out of them. And I'm just going to use just this little sachet envelope that I've had for a while to make my tag shape for that one. And then these little ones, I'll just go ahead and use this card and just make tiny corners on them. And then after I'm done cutting corners off of all these, on the back, it's pretty plain. So I've got these cute little stamps that I got from a thrift store. One's a dragonfly, one's an ant, one's a ladybug. I've got a heart, I've got a tulip, and from the same thrift store that I got these little pigment inks as well. So I'll go through and cut these all as tag shapes and then stamp little images on the back. Before I go on to the next step for these, I have to see if this worked. Okay, so you and I are both going to see together if this is working the way that it did for Shinuki Art. So It did. You know, if this was a prettier image, it would probably be more impressive. I think I'll leave this one as a journaling card versus as a tag. And then I'm going to have to glue something onto the back of this as well. So the next step I'm going to do for all of these tags, so I'm going to take my little jar of gesso and just spread a little bit of gesso in the center, because I plan on putting some acrylic paints on top of these so that I can try these gel pens. So that's the whole point of doing this project, is to try the gel pens. So I'm going to go through and put gesso on these, and then I'll come back and show you what I did. I got the first coat of gesso on these tags. Now I'm going through and putting on a second coat in places. trying to make smooth strokes so that when I do my drawing with the gel pens, that the surface will be fairly smooth. But I noticed that because I'm using a wet gesso on a couple of the cards, it's making the surface bubble. Like this one, the surface bubbled pretty big. But, you know, it's for junk journals. I'm using quote-unquote junk for my ephemera. And then after I blow dry the gesso on all these, I'll pick some acrylic colors for the background. Probably lighter in color. I might do some dark ones because I'm curious how well these gel pens will show up. So if I use a dark paint background and I use the lighter colors, how well will they show up? Since I've got 10 9 tags and one journaling card, I'm going to use the pale daffodil for these two, the pink parfait for these two, the electric blue for these two, the royal navy for these two, and then I picked up some metallic gold from Dollar Tree for these two. Instead of using a palette, I'm just going to get paint in the lid. And then I'll go through with each one of the colors and show you how it turned out. All right, so all of this stuff was done ahead of time just to prepare for this. So I am so curious as to how, I've never used gel pens before, so I don't know what to expect. So this says, well, they're all Wexford, and this is a 1.0 millimeter. Let's see. I don't even know how well these, oop, there we go. Okay, I'm liking this. they work pretty good on acrylic. All right, I'm going to go through and do my doodles, and then I'll show you how it turned out. All right, I did a little practice with the colors. Now I'll just continue on what I was doing. Oh, I grabbed the wrong color there. That's the wrong one. It's supposed to be this one. Okay, that's those two. Grabbed the wrong color again. So I'll go through and do all my doodles and show you the outcome. Time for the reveal. And I will be the first to admit I need to work on my doodling skills. So I just was testing, basically these gel pens and see how well they worked on top of acrylic paint. I believe this was the worst color combination because the yellow didn't really show up with the blue at all. So this was the worst. I'm going to go from the worst to what I think turned out the best. So again, this color combination didn't work. You really can't see the yellow. Kind of like, I don't know if the gold is catching for you, if you can see the... I love metallics. I just love how they reflect. But these could go inside an art journal. It's definitely something, I took advantage of using household items, sanding them, gluing on book page, and then painting. Now this is my favorite. I really like how this turned out. That was the navy blue paint. This was this color, or royal blue, the royal blue, and it's orange. Even though it looks like yellow on here, what I used was this orange, and I think that had the most striking color combination. I think that these two are my favorite out of all of them. But I just wanted to have a little play and make some artistic tags, and I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for watching.